Before the world wakes, there's a sound most people miss. It's not your alarm. It's the hum inside your skull, the mind booting up. That split second, right before thought begins, is when your operating system loads its first command. If you don't give it one, the world will. Your brain isn't waiting for motivation. It's waiting for input. Every scroll, every hesitation, every "I'll do it later," they all write code into your circuitry. Most people wake up and start running someone else's program. You're about to write your own. Still, breathe once. That's the signal. That's the moment discipline begins. Not in effort, but in the decision to lead your mind before the world does. Because discipline isn't about willpower, it's about architecture. And every morning, you're the architect of your next identity. Every habit begins with chemistry. And every morning, your chemistry decides who you'll be. When you first wake up, your brain is flooded with adenosine, the chemical fog of sleep. Most people reach for dopamine, that first scroll, that quick hit, that fake ignition. But dopamine without direction burns fast. It gives you motion, not mastery. Discipline, on the other hand, runs on clarity. And clarity runs on cortisol and focus. Not the kind that stresses, the kind that primes. Here's how it works. Within the first hour of waking, your cortisol naturally spikes, a biological alert signal saying, "Command me." If you channel that signal with movement, breath, or writing, you reinforce a neural pathway that links energy to purpose. Ignore it. And the same pathway rewires for distraction. A neuroscientist once told me, "Your morning routine isn't self-care, it's self-coding." He was right. One of my students proved it. Every morning he'd wake up, grab his phone, and lose 40 minutes. We changed one thing. He left the phone outside the room, stood tall, and took 3 slow breaths before anything else. In 2 weeks, his anxiety dropped. In a month, his confidence rose. Nothing mystical, just chemistry obeying command. Still, that's the secret. You don't find discipline, you fuel it. So before you chase goals or quotes or hacks, learn to respect the engine running beneath your skin. Because when you understand your biology, discipline stops being punishment and becomes power. A discipline circuit isn't metaphor. It's literal wiring, a loop between body, breath, and intention. Think of it as building your own neural switchboard. Every action you repeat at the same time in sequence creates a pattern your brain begins to automate. That's how soldiers, surgeons, and Stoics all reach calm under chaos. They've trained their neural loops to execute before emotion interferes. Your goal? To build one circuit that tells your brain, "I'm in command." Here's the design. Step 1. Anchor with breath. Before words, before screens, inhale deep through the nose, slow exhale through the mouth. 3 times. This floods the prefrontal cortex with oxygen and signals safety. You've just silenced the amygdala before it starts screaming. Step 2. Prime the body. Push-ups, stretching, cold water, anything that introduces mild stress. Your brain learns pressure, checks, readiness, not panic. That's neural conditioning, not motivation. Step 3. Set a one-line command. Write it, say it, or whisper it. Lead the mind. This creates what neuroscience calls an implementation intention, a coded trigger that converts thought into action. Repeat this sequence every morning for 21 days, and your nervous system begins to treat it like muscle memory. You won't need to feel ready. You'll just execute. A client once told me, "Before this, I waited for the right mindset to start my day. Now the circuit creates it for me." That's the difference between drifting and directing. One reacts, the other commands. Still, this isn't about perfection, it's about programming, and each repetition etches a stronger signal into your system. If this already made you rethink what morning discipline means, hit pause, comment "circuit on" below. That's your first command executed. Every system has resistance. Even electricity needs friction to create light. Your mind works the same way. Discipline isn't the absence of resistance, it's mastery over it. That first thought, I don't feel like it. That's not weakness. That's neural inertia, the brain protecting old wiring. It resists new commands because they cost energy. Here's the truth most people miss. The goal isn't to eliminate resistance. It's to shorten the distance between resistance and motion. The Stoics practiced this through immediate action. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Neuroscience agrees. Action rewires faster than reflection. When you move, even slightly, dopamine follows effort, not emotion. A micro story. One creator I coached kept losing mornings to hesitation. We built a rule. The moment his mind whispered later, he stood up and took one slow step forward. That step became a bridge, a physical cue that rewired his brain from delay to doing. Within weeks, hesitation shrank to seconds. Still, the brain respects proof, not promises. Each time you act through friction, you train it to believe motion equals safety. That's when flow begins, not from comfort, but from conquered resistance. So stop negotiating with the voice that says, wait. It's not your enemy. It's your starting gun. Lead. Repetition isn't boring. It's biological. Every time you repeat a pattern, your brain builds insulation around that pathway. Neuroscientists call it myelination. Stoics called it habitus, character built through consistent action. This is the foundation of your discipline circuit. Every command you repeat, your mind remembers faster and resists less. That's why your morning routine isn't motivation practice, it's system installation. Let's make it real. Each morning you run the same sequence, breathe, move, command. You're etching grooves into the brain's basal ganglia, the same structure that stores automatic skills. That's why a pianist doesn't think before playing. That's why a disciplined mind doesn't debate before acting. A short story. One founder I worked with struggled with morning chaos, constant rush, no focus. We simplified everything to one rule, 3 repetitions of the same breath-move command ritual before checking messages. After 30 days, he didn't try anymore. His brain expected command before chaos. Still, that's how you transform discipline from an idea into instinct. Because the goal isn't to be disciplined, it's to become someone who doesn't need to remember to be. And here's where modern neuroscience and ancient Stoicism converge. Repetition trains obedience to clarity. The more consistent your circuit, the quieter the noise becomes. So run it. Daily. Not for motivation, for memory. Lead. Your brain is always scanning for cues. Every object, sound, and smell you wake up to either strengthens your circuit or scrambles it. Discipline isn't just internal. It's environmental engineering. Neuroscientists call this context-dependent memory. Your surroundings become shortcuts that trigger behavior automatically. That's why you crave coffee when you see your mug, or feel tired the moment you lie in bed. Your brain links space to state. Now use that power intentionally. Step 1. Remove the friction. If your phone is your first battle, move it across the room. You've just created a micro-delay that forces consciousness before reaction. Step 2. Place command cues. Leave your notebook open on the desk. Set your mat where your feet will land. One visible cue equals one saved decision. That's a dopamine conservation strategy. Fewer choices, less fatigue. Step 3. Anchor reward to completion. After you run your discipline circuit, then check your phone, then sip the coffee, then scroll. Your brain now associates pleasure with command, not distraction. A micro story. A writer once told me he'd start every morning with chaos, phone buzz, mental noise. We replaced his alarm with a soft tone and placed his notebook beside it. Within a week, his hand reached for the pen automatically. That's not motivation. That's design. Still, the Stoics didn't rely on perfect conditions. They created clarity inside chaos. But they also understood something modern science just confirmed. Environment either enslaves or empowers the mind. Build it wisely, and the discipline circuit will fire before you even think. Lead. Even with a solid circuit, you'll glitch. One bad thought, one scroll too long, one slip back into distraction, and the brain begins its spiral. But here's what most people don't realize. You can intercept the loop in under 2 minutes. Neuroscientist Jill Bolte-Taylor found that an emotional reaction lasts about 90 seconds. After that, it only continues if you feed it with thought. That means your discipline doesn't disappear when you break routine. It just waits for command. Here's the 90-second reset protocol. Step 1. Interrupt the feed. The moment you catch yourself drifting, stop. Physically freeze. That pause reclaims awareness from the autopilot network in your brain. Step 2. Breathe once deep. Slow inhale through the nose, longer exhale through the mouth. This reactivates the prefrontal cortex, your decision center. Step 3. Name the loop. Say it softly. Distraction or doubt. Labeling moves activity from the amygdala to the cortex. You've just shifted from emotion to control. Step 4. Resume motion. Stand, write, stretch. Any micro-action proves command has returned. That's your reboot. A quick story. One student told me he'd lose whole mornings to mental noise. I taught him this reset. 2 weeks later, he said, "I still drift, but I come back faster." That's not failure. That's mastery. Still. Discipline isn't measured by never falling. It's measured by how fast you return to command. So the next time your mind loops, don't analyze. Don't judge. Interrupt. Breathe. Label. Move. You'll feel the circuit reboot and clarity snap back online. Lead. Every morning, your mind waits for an order. If you don't give it one, the world will. This isn't philosophy. It's wiring. Each breath, each action, each hesitation writes code into your neural system. So the question isn't whether your brain will run a program. It's whose program it will be. You are not here to chase motivation. You are here to install command. When you rise and run your circuit, breathe, move, speak intention, you're proving something ancient and biological. That thought serves choice, not the other way around. Still, discipline isn't about punishment. It's about precision. A conscious decision to replace emotional noise with operational clarity. Every morning you lead your mind, you strengthen the signal. And one day, you'll wake up and realize the circuit doesn't need activation anymore. It is you. The Stoics called that living in alignment with nature. Neuroscience calls it neural coherence. You'll call it freedom. Because the mind that learns to follow command creates a life that no longer argues with itself. Lead, still, become. If this video helped you reframe discipline as something you install, drop a command installed in the comments. Like and share this video if you're ready to lead your mornings and help someone else replace motivation with mastery. Subscribe to Vision Vortex for weekly rewiring, Stoic insight, neural precision, and practical mental training. Command your mind, command your day. Command your life, still, lead, become.
This is Vision Vortex, your space where clarity meets transformation. Subscribe now and return each week to sharpen your mind and strengthen your soul.